Hello. And today I made it. I made it. I was here just waiting, and hearing the now, five, four, three. So welcome. Welcome to the podcast, The Coaches Next Door. And I want to share something with you before we go into the topic, but I think is also related with the topic. Is tomorrow I become the mom of an 18 years old girl. Ta-da! And of course, I'm going through, sometimes I even have some pictures when I walk into my office, and I was looking through those pictures and I saying, oh my Lord, like, what is this all about? And how 18 years passed, you know. Hello from Amsterdam. Now a raining but a very white Amsterdam this morning was just gorgeous. Um, so, how all this happened, and how I remember, going because 18 years ago was not so common, at least in the country that we were living at that time, was not so common the birth at home. After that, the two other kids, if I say all the others, looks a lot like, no, all the other two kids were born at home, but 18 years ago was not the same. Um, and I remember going to the hospital. I still had a normal birth, but yeah, needed to be there. And I was not scared, to be honest. I was curious. I think that that is something that is in me, right? Curious. But it was very different when I went home with Adriana after 2 days of giving birth, and then we're like, oh my God, how do we do this? And now I go back and I'm like, wow, 18 years passed, right? And this brings us to this topic, the topic that I decided to bring today, um, about why seems so difficult to give this first step. Why sometimes we, even for ourselves, but also for our clients, we sometimes, get in this struggle with why we are not going for this first step that sometimes even we know that is the step that is necessary. Sometimes we even know the step, so it's not fully unknown, but we still resist this. And I'm afraid that a lot of times this is seen as an emotional thing, um, in the sense of, oh, maybe, I don't know, you are afraid, or um, emotionally you are not ready, or even sometimes, oh, I don't know, maybe you have a trauma. And one of the things that we forget, or at least I see a lot of people forgetting for themselves and for their clients, is that things are happening in our system. So it's not, let me put it this way, it's not random that people are scared from this first step, even if we know that that step is necessary. When I'm doing NLP courses, is one exercise that we we make the person go through the timeline, and we use the timeline as a reference, and then the person is, where she is now, and then they define what they want. Okay, and then we ask the person to close their eyes and to give that this first step. And the struggle is real many times. But when I say many times, is maybe 90% of the times, the struggle is real. And you can see it in the body. So the person is not even speaking, is not explaining anything, is not talking. But you can see the body sometimes literally going back, sometimes shaking. So is a lot happening within the system. So it's not, let's say, a fantasy. This first step is not a fantasy. It's not that people are, creating a resistance just because. No, something is really happening. And that's what I think that we need to step in. And okay, what is really happening in the body and why this is happening in the system? I don't really like to use the word body, sorry. What is happening in the system? And after we know what is happening in the system, we can be a little bit more surgical in saying, okay, what is the things that I'm going to do with each one of these points, and maybe not even necessary all of them, but we become a little bit more efficient because we are going to act upon what we are seeing in the body. And I want to start with this idea that when we are um, getting in the point, okay, I know that I want some change, this is established. I want something else that I want right now. And I know what is the first thing that I need to be doing. Okay? We are talking about this point. Okay? We are talking about the point that the person knows, I know what needs to be happening for some things to change. When we are doing this, we need to realize that we are going to activate the survival instinct, first of all. So we want to really get, or we really need the sense of, let's detect what are the threats of this. And we tend to request sometimes more information for ourselves, but also more information from the person that, for instance, is supporting us. And when we activate this survival instinct, we need to realize that we are going to enter in a very basic response. So it's fight or flight, you know what I mean? Um, and when we see this happening, and sometimes we see this in ourselves, like the tension, the face is getting. But sometimes we also see this in other people. Okay, so get awareness that this first step will, in a very automatic way, will amplify this survival instinct. So the amygdala is going to, kick in, and is going to say, whoa, 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 wait, are we sure? Are we sure? And are we really paying attention to all the threats that are um, around us? Okay, so we tend also to be a little bit more protective of ourselves and others. So this is one of the things that I think is really important to realize. Okay, and if we see, for instance, someone or ourselves in this survival instinct, it's important to ask, what more do you need? Because the survival instinct is also claiming maybe more resources from the person, you know what I mean? So the person is sometimes more information, sometimes seeing that thing happening, and the other person, for instance, doing it and saying, okay, I think I got this. So one of the questions that we can bring to ourselves and others is, what else do I need? And respect whatever comes. Respect that for us to go out of this survival instant, it's okay to ask for more things that can be more information, more support, sometimes observing the other person doing, but well, can be basically anything. Can be just, hold my hand. um, but it's important to respect this, because if we don't go out of this survival instinct, this first step, most part of the times, maybe will not happen. And this is the thing, is that we are exposing the system to already something, normally very different. So we need to respect the need of the system, of more resources. So, and if we don't give these resources, it's very common that this first step will never happen. So that's why it's so important. Okay. The second thing that I would like to bring to you is uh, the let's say the neuronal sensitivity to be stimulated. You know, um, so let's say that the brain tends to, when it's something new, it starts paying attention to it, because it's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know yet what this means. So the brain tends to be hyper focused. And because he's also looking for this again to predict the error, okay, where this can go wrong. So the brain will be paying a lot of attention. And sometimes can be even happening that the brain is paying attention to very unnecessary details. Okay, let's say that the brain wants to explore, but is an unknown exploration, so it doesn't know exactly what is coming. Okay, so that means that is also willing, or is looking for rewards, instantaneous rewards, to say, oh, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay when I do this. So it's important. And one of the things that I always say is, give yourself and your clients reinsurance. It's okay. You are doing pretty good. That's it. Continue. That's right. These simple things, whoa, they make an instantaneous change. you know when I'm working with a client, for instance, and the client is like, I is like doing something, and they go like, I'm starting seeing the let's say the brain kicking in, like, do I really know how to do this? This is okay. I give that to them. It's like, sometimes, if the people that work with me, they already know, I say a lot, that's right, it's okay. That's right. And you see this also, I use a little bit of a hypnotic tone, because people need that. We need that. I do this to myself, sometimes I just like, it's okay. It's okay. Well done. That's right. That's right. You are feeling like this, and I connect with my own feelings, or whatever is going to happen when I'm trying something new. It's like, it's okay. It's all right. Okay. And this works. So very simple things like, it's okay. That's right. That's right. And you continue, and do this with yourself, do this with other people. With kids, works wonders. wonders. You cannot imagine how kids can, shift just by receiving this. The other day, my middle one was studying and topography, and it's not her favorite subject. And I get her. So she was studying, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want to study. I don't know anything of this." And then, okay, let's do this together first. So we started doing it together, and then one moment she found a city that was questioned, so she needed to find a city, and she found it. And I said, "That's right." And she's like, "Yeah," and she continued doing it by herself. And then I was not needed anymore. Just one little thing. Can you imagine? And so I think sometimes we don't do this too much. Um, we don't we don't reinforce positive because we are so trained to look for the error. Like, oh, this is not okay, or oh no, let's do this like this, or let's do this like that. And sometimes people will correct themselves if we appreciate what is already there. You know what I mean? They will sometimes even say, "Oh, but can I do this faster? Can I do this in another way?" So they are the ones requesting it. And if they are requesting, we know that they are already in a different stage in their mental possibilities. So ask me anything, okay? You are free to ask me. I'm seeing the chat, so ask me questions. I know that sometimes this type of content that has a lot of no answers, so please ask me questions. Another thing that we need to realize, and connected with this God, neural sensitivity now, is it, is the cognitive efficiency. So one of the things that I'm always repeating, and I don't get tired of repeating it, is that our system is always looking for efficiency, and sometimes is looking for efficiency in a very unhealthy way. Okay, but is looking always to you know um, get the maximum of something, and with that is going to activate a certain things. So he's going to focus on contrast. So is different, is this different, you know what I mean? So if we, for instance, we are looking for this first step, and the person does the first step and nothing really different happens, the tendency is that the person will give up. And we know by experience that some first steps, they is not one time. So this is a new step, but the step needs to be repeated. Let me give you a very, classic example is exercise. Okay. So you say, okay, my first step was like, I'm going to the gym. But guess what? You are going to the gym one time and nothing, literally more than pain, maybe. You are not going to see a big contrast from what your body was able to do and what you are able to do after, for instance, going to the gym the first time. But the person, the brain, let me put it this way, your neurological system is looking for this contrast. So is looking for, okay, but this is really different. It's going really to bring me this that I want, because it doesn't look like super different right now. That's why sometimes when I'm working with my clients, I integrate very, you know, opposite tasks, because I want them to get the contrast amplified immediately. I want them to experience the contrast in an immediate way. So that's why, for instance, if you go to the gym, is great when you have someone with you that is pushing you harder, because you know that you are also going to maintain the thing in the efficiency. But it's important to have someone that, now you can do this, you can go above this. Yes, the brain, exactly that. The brain wants to save energy. We are made to save resources because we don't know that consciously, but our system knows that our resources are not here forever. So it's incredible right now that I'm saying this. Let me put this in a take the elephant out. Our system, our unconscious knows that we are not going to be here forever. And the resources that we have today, we are not going to get them forever. So it's making sure that we really get what we need for that uh, amount of time. Okay. But going back to what I was saying, for instance, I'm going to give a personal example. I went to the first time that I went to work with my BD um, was incredible. We start the session with 6 kilos, 6 kilos, and he said to me, "Looks like this is too easy." And I said, "Yeah, easy, easy. Let's Easy is a big word, right? But I'm not feeling I can do this. I don't know, maybe 50 reps." And he's like, "Yeah, that's not what we want. We want you to be able to do 3 reps." I'm like, "What?" So he gave me, I think, 15 kilos, if I'm not mistaken. And I did it, and I could still do, I think, 5 reps or 8 reps. It's like, no, still not this. And he gave me 30 kilos in a frame of time of not even half an hour. Okay. And he gives me 30 kilos. And I go like, "No, I will not. No, this is too much." And he's like, can we do it? And I said, "We can, but I don't know how." It's like, "Just do it." And I did it. And now I'm working with 30 kilos. But guess what? I got this contrast immediately because I was like, whoa, I thought that my weight of working, was 6 kilos. That's it. And I can work with 30. I was surprised with myself, but he gave me this contrast. So I go like, you know what? I want this. I want this. I want to see if I can reach more and more. And this is what I'm talking about creating this contrast, because this cognitive efficiency is going to say, oh, okay, this is the new standard. This is the new start. And this is so important. So what I see sometimes in coaching or therapy or whatever is that people are soft. Let me put it this way: they start very soft, and then they complain that the person, for instance, gave up on the coaching or gave up on the therapy or gave up even on the massages, never came back. Guess what? The person, most probably, if you go to ask these people, they will say, "I didn't saw, I didn't felt, or I didn't see, or I didn't recognize any difference." And what they are saying is, "I wanted more contrast. I wanted to get more awareness what the difference will be." And that's why, for instance, my first session sometimes is the most, harsh one, because I want people to immediately feel like, whoa, this is different. So bring this to your senses, but also for yourself when you are giving this first step. How can I amplify the contrast? Yeah, I hope this makes sense. Another thing is, um, of course, the emotional and behavioral triggers. Okay, we are our limbic system is, you know, always getting triggered, uh, and we we if we feel in a different way, if we feel that that triggered something, we are going to get curious. Even if it's something that we go like, oh, I don't know if I like this, but I get curious about, whoa, what happened here? How this happened? And this is a stimulus for us to continue on this first step. It's like, what else can this bring? You know what I mean? So this, when we are triggering our limbic system, we are more aware of the significant changes. We are more aware how this can impact my life and how this can affect my own system. Yeah. So it's so important that the person also feels in a different way. So not only mentally they can recognize this contrast, not only mentally they can, put the oh, okay, something here is different. I feel that my brain, or I think in a different way. Is also very important that the person feels in a different way. I'm going to give you an example. One of the things that happens a lot when people go to my office is that we have a particular smell, we have a particular light, we have, so all the environment is different. The environment is already triggering the limbic system, by the warmth, by everything. And some people say to me, it's incredible, I come from life, and I enter here, it's like immediately I feel different. And I was like, that's right. So think, how can you bring this to your first step? Think, how can you bring this also to the first step of your clients? What is this all about? How can I create something that? How can I create a different feeling? Basically, that's what I want to say. How can I create a different feeling that the person maybe even never experienced before? So that is going to create, what we call technically an anchoring with whatever you are doing, and that will amplify literally the possibilities of the person continuing giving the next and the next and the next and the next step. And this is so interesting, because the when we want change, basically this is what we want, right? We want to really bring something different, but we need to create that incredibly for the change to be happening, or the transformation even. This needs to be sometimes created, because when you wait, that comes with the change, the person can resist the first step. And if the person resists the first step, basically nothing will change. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's our responsibility to create the change before the change is there. Makes sense what I'm saying? So we need to believe in a very practical way. We need to believe that the change is coming. So we are going to facilitate this change. We are not going to wait that the change is there to then, um, reassure ourselves from the change. We need to say, if you want change, if it's a client, if you want change, I'm bringing already some change for you. I will do that first. I will give the first step. Oh, and this is interesting. Um, but the thing is that if this is for yourself, then of course it's even more important that you get awareness. How can you create this for yourself? And sometimes writing it down, sometimes is doing something very different from whatever you experienced before. So you need to, maybe when you are working with yourself, you need to be a little bit more drastic in the first step to really make sure that you are going to get all this package, you know, that whatever you are going to do has already this package. And of course, yeah, the advantage of working with someone else is that that person will support also that, right? Sometimes is the same thing. You cannot tickle yourself. Yeah, you cannot tickle yourself. It's a little bit like the same, okay? Because we have also neurological habits, and yeah, we will stay there again from the efficiency, from all this, the so that's how we tend to work. And that's why sometimes I say it's great that you can self coach yourself, or do some self work, but some things will not be, how do you say, first of all, reaching the same level of challenge, but also some changes will not be happening, because it's too difficult. It's too difficult because you are inside of your system, right? So like, okay, I even sometimes, let me tell you, even when you know, and you know what is happening, but you are so inside of your own system that, yeah, nothing can really happen in a different way, you know what I mean? So um, I believe that if we are able to work on this points, we will most probably, get already some new approach to when we are working with change, because the thing is that we tend, and I see this a lot happening, okay, we tend to see um, not going for the first step as failure. And I normally say, no, no, is your system working really well? So if you are going for the first step and you don't do it, or you even resist, or doesn't come out exactly as you expected, so you were too kind, in a bad way, you were too soft with yourself, so nothing really drastically happening, I will say you need to congratulate yourself, because your system is working. you know when someone says to me, oh, change, woohoo, I go like, okay, you have two things: or you are your change will be to not change because you got too used to change, so you are always looking for new, so the real change for you will be stay with a plan, stay with whatever you are doing, stay instead of always changing. Or your system is not working. Your system is not working because it's not, you are not getting the survival mode, you are not getting out of your efficiency, so you get a little bit like, whoa, what is that? Oh, can you hear the rain? It's raining a lot. um, so I always check if someone is not going immediately, like, whoa, for the first step. I go like, it's okay, your system is working well. Is preventing you, to hurt yourself, is preventing you to do things in an unnecessary way, maybe. So be aware that um, change requires more than, oh, let's just change. And that's when we know, like, okay, this is the first step that we needed. When triggers all this, when triggers are survival mode, when triggers are emotions and feelings, when it's triggering, the efficiency, we are not efficient anymore. We need to relearn or learn or unlearn stuff, you know. So that's the system, and that's okay. But the good news is that we can influence, we can, use the system to do more, use what is happening with the system to be better on promoting this first step. That is the good news. And we can do this with a lot of different things, with a lot of different tools, and sometimes with environment, with the things that we bring on. So I hope that this makes sense. And I'm hoping that you can also, put yourself out there and giving the first step for whatever change you will need or you want. Because I don't know how was this week for you, but this week was already the start of a new energy point. Okay. So, most probably, we are going to be required for change in the next month, but also in the next year for sure. The system is let me put it this way, is collapsing, right? We don't know yet what it's coming. So maybe we are the ones that need to give the first step, at least for ourselves, and taking that decision and taking their decision of what we want all this to be. And I'm seeing, and this is based, of course, in my experience and with my clients and the people that I talk to, um, that people are looking for that first step. Okay, what will be the thing that if I do that thing right here, right now, my life will be different? And when I'm saying my life, I see a lot of people questioning their lives. You know what I mean? Questioning their lives in the sense of, is only this? What else can I be doing? What else can we all be doing? So I believe that, and this is a very personal belief, of course, um, that we are going to be, challenged in the next months and the next year to really bring something, different for ourselves and for others as well. So think about that. What is this step? And don't go for 10 steps in one go, okay? One step, one little thing that you can start now. And this is the thing, is that it's not going to be like, oh, in 2 years I can start that. I believe that we need to decide, okay, what can I start now? And I believe that that is going to be the topic for the next months. And it's not because it's New Year's, don't get me wrong. It's because and you see that by several and different ways, right? The world is some way shifting, and we are all a little bit like we were until now, a little bit like, okay, let's see what is this is all about and what is going to happen. And now I think we are realizing that we don't know. So we don't know is space to for us to decide. When we say I don't know, is a great space to decide, because it's nothing closed, is nothing done, is nothing, fully happening. So it's no reality there yet. You know what I mean? So this is the space for us to take the decision. Um, yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I hope that you get all these steps. maybe I need to invite you the next times. Maybe you can take notes, but also knowing that you can go to the YouTube and see this video again and take these steps and think about what can I do with these steps. What can I do, what I can guarantee that I'm going to make sure that this is there for this first step to be really impactful, and then gives me the motivation to continue the steps. Yeah. So thank you so much, and take the weekend to take small decisions. And it's not about, oh, I'm going to think about my goal for next year. No, it's like here, right now, what I'm going to do right here, right now. I cannot, and exactly, like, I don't have everything figured out. I don't, that is impossible. Will never happen, you know? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing in the end. Because maybe if we had, like, I'm not going to do anything because, I have everything figured out. So, not knowing is the space for decision. Fix this. And I'm also like, oh, this is a nice sentence. Sometimes I say smart things. So, get get yourself in this notion. Not knowing is a great place to take decisions. See you next Friday. And you know that you can also, you know, text me, reach out to the podcast. You can see it again. You can see all the episodes before this one. And another thing is coming yesterday. Went out the newsletter. If you don't have the newsletter yet, I think is a great topic because it's where I explore a little bit more also the topics that I bring here, and in a different way. Is reading and is not listening to me. So get your newsletter on your email, and that is also a way to get new resources because we share some resources, some books, some information. So that is also a nice way to keep yourself um, yeah on it. Yeah. Take care. Have a great weekend. And just like I said, tomorrow I become the mom of an 18 years old. So for me will be party time. Yeah. So I hope for you too. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself.